This match from Goodison Park.
After 8 months of fighting relegation, the battle had finally been lost, and Bradford City's 2-year love affair with the Premiership was over. A roller coaster ride which took its toll emotionally on some fans. And yet when Benny Carboni floated over this corner, Andy Myers was on hand to head home his first goal in more than 4 years. Bradford ahead after just 2 minutes, and a third consecutive win looked a possibility. The fans were ecstatic. This was the stuff of dreams, and perhaps the great escape could become a reality after all. Bradford keeper Gary Walsh was inspired, keeping out that Kevin Campbell header, then pulling off another fine save to deny Duncan Ferguson. Skipper Stuart McCall led from the front with a tenacious display, while Robbie Blake wriggled through only to shoot wide, having done the hard part. Nail-biting stuff, but at half-time Bradford still 1 up. Well, that lead lasted precisely a minute into the second half. Ferguson converting at the back post for his 6th Everton goal since returning, and Goodison Park could breathe easier, though much of the drama was still to come. First, Steve Watson was harshly adjudged to have floored Carboni. Penalty to Bradford. The fans could suddenly see salvation. After all, Blake had scored from his 2 previous spot kicks. Not this time. A great save from Paul Gerrard. What a turning point that was.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Chris Woods during the week, and he said that Robbie Blake, his last 2 penalties he put to my right-hand side. So I thought, well, you know, I've got to pick my corner, and luckily, you know, I saved it.
Everton celebrated their escape by then going ahead. Nicholas Alexanderson exploiting some poor defending. 2-1 Everton, and they knew they were on the brink of safety. But Bradford weren't done for yet. Watson penalised for handball, and it was another spot kick. Carboni this time given the task. And what a hash he made of it. The writing on the wall for Bradford, and the supporters knew it. Only victory could have saved them.
Obviously, goals change games, and I'm sure if we went 2-1 up, or maybe even got it back to 2-2, you know, the result might have been a whole lot different in terms of us might have gone on to win the game.
As it was, Everton finished the stronger. Walsh again performing heroics. Tense stuff for Walter Smith. But Everton 2-1 winners at the end, and safe for another year.
Well, I never thought I would celebrate escaping relegation. You never really think of that when it happens, but you're obviously delighted. But maybe a glass of lager, maybe not champion.
Yes, we're very disappointed. You know, we wanted to keep it going as long as it was possible, and we probably had the opportunity to keep it going.
When all's said and done, Bradford have been a credit to the Premiership, but relegation hurts. Just ask him. Still, as always next year, Everton 2, Bradford 1.
Thank you, Nick Collins. Well, Paddy Smythe of the group Scandal once said it, goodbye to you, and it's bye-bye Bantams from the EPL. There's still 3 games left on our Saturday docket, though. Let's begin our roundup at St. James's Park with Newcastle hosting Leicester.
Leicester's defeat by Wycombe in the FA Cup started an unwelcome trend for Peter Taylor's team. They've not won since, and this loss at Newcastle made it 8 league defeats in a row, the worst run in the club's history. Kevin Gallagher found Tim Flowers hard to beat, and so for that matter did the rest of the Newcastle team, who like Leicester have been struggling with injuries to key players. Flowers was at the peak of his powers. Even at 34 on this form, he could certainly get a recall for England. Lightning-sharp reactions, this time to save from Davizas. The quality of the saves was getting better and better. At the other end, it was a third game without a goal. Like points, goals have been in short supply. It's a good job Leicester picked up points early on, or they could have been in trouble. But perhaps it was cruel that in the 90th minute, Cole Court's deflected shot would deprive both Leicester and Flowers of a much-needed clean sheet.
It was a good performance, but it was one that looked sort of in the last 5-10 minutes as if we weren't going to get what we deserved. And so in that sense, it kept us all a little bit edgy. But they deserved the win, and they deserved the 3 points.
Because it was such an inexperienced team that was playing today, I was desperate for Tim to play because of his experience. And he's missed quite a lot of matches recently, but he was up for playing, and I thought he was tremendous. He pulled off some wonderful saves. And he alone deserved a clean sheet.
Good
players don't become bad players overnight, but the psychological blow of losing Glenn Hoddle has had an enormous effect on the Southampton team. For a start, they stopped scoring goals. Jo Tessum came close in the first half, but there hasn't been one for caretaker boss Stuart Gray to celebrate yet. 9 minutes into the second, the only goal of the game arrived. And what a goal! A superb finish from Kevin Kilbane. His 7th goal of the season. Thomas Sorensen, the visiting goalkeeper, made some fine saves. But when he was beaten, Patrice Carteron was there to deny James Beattie. Not a Saints day again.
The good thing is we're creating chances, and as long as we're creating chances, centre forwards go through a bounce spell. But I say it's not just the forwards who need to score goals. We send defenders up for set pieces. I think we've probably had about 12, 13, 14 corners today. So everybody's got to contribute. The only person I don't expect to score in the team is probably Paul Jones.
We won last year here, and that's 2 on the trot, and I think that's it was a long time for Sunderland to get results here, but it's a very difficult place to come and win. And I had a look at the new stadium, St Mary's, and that looks quite imposing when that will be finished. So it's always hard to play Southampton, I've got to say that.
David Ginola made a first return to White Hart Lane, but had to be content with a place on the Villa bench. For Tottenham, Les Ferdinand was back in the side after signing a new 2-year contract. Clear chances, though, were few and far between. Carr's cross was cleverly left by Corsten, but Leonardson just couldn't apply the finish. While a relatively inexperienced Spurs side had the better of the first half, Villa was strongest in the second. Sullivan did well to stop Merson. Young was on the line to clear the follow-up from Vassell. Although Villa extended their unbeaten run to 10 matches, they missed a golden chance to close the gap on Chelsea to just a point. Tottenham Hotspur 0, Aston Villa 0.
In many ways, I'm delighted with the way we played first half, with the way the youngsters have adapted against experienced teams, I must say. We haven't got that opportunity to shake things up and bring fresh people in. We're down to the barest bones, and the young kids trying to do a man's job.
Looking at the performance today as well, you know, and the opportunities we had to have won the game, the pressure that we had in the second half, you do feel it's 2 points thrown away. It's, you know, you might think a draw at Tottenham is not a bad result, but when you take everything into consideration, it's a couple of points dropped today.
Ginola gets a nice warm welcome, but Gregory left him on the bench for 80 minutes of that draw. Let's check out our Player of the Week when we come back. Robbie Keane.